Ever feel like you're meant for something but can't name it? Like there's a quiet pull inside you, but the world's too loud to hear it? That was me. I am Joan of Arc, just a farm girl. Until something spoke to me. If you're searching for purpose, maybe my story might whisper back. I wasn't born to lead. I didn't look like a fighter. My days were sheep, prayers, and simple silence. France was bleeding from war, but I was just a nobody, 13 years old, kneeling inside a tiny chapel, sunlight slipping through cracked stone. And then, this rush, like warmth in the chest, like someone else breathing inside me. A voice, not from the room, but from within, clear, steady, unmistakable. You're meant to help your people. That's what it said. That's all it said. I blinked. No one else heard it. So I kept quiet, at first. I wasn't crazy, but how could I explain a fire no one else saw? For weeks I tried to forget. I worked. I prayed harder, but it kept returning. In dreams, in moments of stillness, a calm urgency, a sacred echo. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. They told me I was just a girl, that war is no place for soft hands and young faces, that what I felt was imagination, foolishness. But I knew I had to follow that voice, even if it broke everything. I left my home, said goodbye to my parents, took nothing but the belief that my task was real. I walked for days, mud roads, hostile stares, soldiers sneering. A girl? To meet the king? They laughed, loud, hard, bitter, but laughter didn't drown the flame. It only made it burn brighter. I reached the gates of Chinon. The guards refused me. I waited. Days, slept in hay, ate scraps. Finally, someone let me through. Into the royal court. Into whispers and side eyes and smirks. They tried to test me. Hide the real king among nobles. Change his clothes. Disguise him. But when I entered, I walked past all others and stopped right in front of him. I looked him in the eye and said, "I've been sent to lift France. You are to be crowned. I'll help get you there." Silence. Eyes blinking. And then, he nodded. The first battle? I was trembling. The sword felt foreign in my hands. My grip was weak. I was no warrior. I had never trained, never killed. But the men waited for me to speak. So I did. We're all afraid. That's human. But turning back now means we lose more than ground. We lose our purpose. They didn't cheer. They nodded, slowly. It was never blind faith. It was trust earned in silence, not noise. We marched. My banner lifted above the chaos. It was white, stitched with gold. Not to show purity, but belief. When it flared in the wind, I felt something larger than myself moving through it. Every clash rang in my chest. The smell of iron and smoke. The cries of wounded. The courage in motion. I didn't fight with skill. I fought with presence. I walked forward while others wavered. That's what made me a leader. They called me the Maid, not because I was untouched, but because I had touched something sacred. With each victory, more cities rose. Hope spread like candlelight, one soul passing flame to another. But there's a cost to shaking the world. I was no longer just a girl. I had become a symbol, and symbols frighten those in power. People began to whisper, "Is she truly sent by God? A woman commanding armies, can that be holy?" They questioned not what I did, but who I was. That's when betrayal bloomed. Not from enemies, but from allies, officials, men in robes and crowns. I was captured, dragged from my horse, shackled like a criminal. They locked me away, in cold stone, damp air, no light. Not once did I renounce what I had done, because purpose, once found, doesn't vanish when walls close in. They chained me in a cell with no light. Stone walls, damp air, cold that crawled into my bones. But I was not alone. The voice, that inner presence, it never left. It didn't speak words anymore. It just reminded me of the flame I followed, of the people I stood for. Then came the questions, long interrogations, accusations sharpened like swords. They didn't seek truth. They sought to twist me into a lie. They said I defied the church, that I dressed as a man to offend God, that I was not sent by heaven but tricked by something darker. But I answered simply, "My heart belongs to God. You may judge my clothes, but God judges my soul." The trial was not for justice. It was a stage for fear, a fear of change, a fear of voices like mine rising from humble places. I held firm. I told them what I believed, that I was called, that I followed, that I never regretted. The verdict was decided before the trial began. Death. Fire. Erasure. But even then, I chose dignity. On the morning of my execution, I wore white. Not for innocence, but for peace. They tied me to a wooden stake. The crowd gathered, some silent, some sobbing, some mocking. I looked upward, not for escape, but for connection. "My mission is complete," I whispered. "Let me return to God." The flames rose. They danced around me like fierce angels. And in that final moment, I felt no fear, only clarity. I had lived with truth. I had walked through doubt. And I had stood when the world wanted me to kneel. Now you've heard me. Not a warrior, not a saint, just a soul who dared. Thank you for listening, for allowing me to speak this truth. Purpose isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper you choose to follow, even when it burns. If my journey lights even the smallest spark in you, then it was all worth it. I am Joan of Arc, a girl who believed until the very end.